dive into some deep questions regarding Black love. Some of you are married, some of you are in relationships, some of you are single. Just kind of give us a perspective on your experiences with women and take us along that journey. We do have some questions from the women. I do have some questions, but before we get into those questions, if you can go around, say your name and a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get started with those questions. Whoever wants to go first. You can use the mic if you want. Just pass it around.
All right. All right. My name is Wayford, but I go by Lee. That's my middle name. I'm an entrepreneur. I got 5 businesses that I can really get into. You know what I'm saying? If y'all want to hear that, but pretty much, I'm single. I've dated. You know, I've stepped out there a few times, but until you're ready to really be out there doing that, just focus on just bettering yourself and doing all of that.
How you doing? My name is Malcolm. I'm single right now. I'm recently off of a dating hiatus, so I'm just now getting back into it. I decided to take a break, take care of myself, do some stuff that I had to work on, like some things that like I had not addressed, but now I'm back out there. So.
It's not turned out. You're using the wrong speaker. It's the speaker behind you. I'm sorry.
Whoop. All right, how y'all doing? I'm Marcus Muhammad, aka everybody call me Blessings. DJ, I say Blessings. I'm a DJ, serial entrepreneur, former HAN. I don't want to cuss in front of the people, but former HAN. I really can't say I'm single because I got baby mamas, but right now I'm just learning how to love me and love my children. You feel me? So I got some game for you.
I'm Carl, entrepreneur as well. Own a clothing line, Juice Clothing, and I've been married 16 years on Tuesday.
Well, I am Mitchell Thomas. I go by the Black Aristocrat. It's ironic in the bookstores. I have a book out. You can go get it on Kindle. It's The Man You Seek versus The Boy You Want. It's not a relationship guide, but it'll tell you the difference between a man and a boy. I know because I've been both. So if y'all want to go look that up, y'all can. I'm an artist. I'm also an entrepreneur, but I actually have a construction company and a security company. So I'm kind of busy, probably 7 days a week.
I don't want the mic to mess up that feather. Brandon Powell, I'm a business therapist. Happy to be here, single. Glad to be here. Thank you.
My name is Reginald Swift. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm single. I've been married twice. Yeah.
Okay, man, we'll go ahead to our first question. What is your definition of love, communication, and relationship? What do you distinguish between the two? Anyone can go first.
You said love, communication, and relationship. Mm-hmm. How do we distinguish those? Mm-hmm. How do you distinguish those? Love, communication, and relationship. I think within a relationship, those are some of the components that are a part of it. I think, as I'm thinking about it, I think love is a choice. So there's a similarity with that in communication. I think that communication, I think if you ask any of us in the audience or up here at the panel, we think that we're great communicators. I think in relationship, it is more difficult because as good as we think we communicate, we don't find out how good or aren't we are or not until we get into a relationship. And so I think that struggle comes because we're not good at communicating within ourselves. And so that translates over into the relationship. So I think we may have, love is the intent. We have the feeling, but the communication I think is disrupted because I don't think we have good internal communication. And so it projects, I think, outward in the relationship.
I'll let you, Nick, go ahead, since you just came in, introduce yourself, and then I'll re-ask.
Absolutely. First of all, I just want to apologize for my tardiness. I got turned around a little bit. My name is Isaiah Rucker Jr. I'm a motivational speaker. I own a nonprofit organization for entrepreneurship and leadership development. All I do is just travel across the world and just kind of empower people to bring out the best of what they have, to unload, unpack, unlock, and unveil every attribute and ability that they possess for success.
Can you also share your marriage?
I am married 5 years, going on my 6th year. Got 2 little girls, beautiful wife, just a beautiful family, and hoping to get a 3rd child, maybe a boy this time.
And thank you for participating. I'll re-ask the question. What is your definition of love, communication, and relationship? How do you distinguish between those?
Absolutely. So love is an action word. A lot of times we get caught up in the emotional aspect of love, but those are byproducts. Love is a decision. We choose to love each and every day. It doesn't matter the situation or circumstances we may face or come across. If I've decided to love you, then I choose that every single moment, every single day. It doesn't matter how bad things get. And of course, we enjoy the good times, but love is tested in those tough times. And if I can choose to continue to love you in those tough times, that's how I know love is present. As far as communication has 2 receptors and 2 responders, right? If any of those are down, communication isn't happening. And in most cases, we think that we have communication with our wives or our husbands. But what happens is we're telling them how we feel, but they haven't received it. The receptor is down. We got to make sure the receptor is present by asking open-ended questions, ensuring they understand what's going on, and then being able to relay their feelings and emotions back to them as well. Those components are very important. I forgot the last part. What was the?
How do you, and relationships, and then how do you distinguish between those?
Okay, yeah. So I think they're pretty distinct standalone, they're pretty distinct, love and communication. I think the way you communicate love, though, is through the action. And I think that's very important.
And so our topic today is women, love, and men. So we want to understand y'all perspective and making sure that we understand what men experience, what y'all look for, what y'all go through, so that we get an understanding on our end, and it'll better help us improve in how we interact. So
Can I add something to that?
yes, you can.
He pretty much said what I was going to say, but what I will add is a lot of people struggle with determining which is which.
Right.
You combine all 3. They're all a part in certain aspects, but they're not the same.
Right.
And you have to understand who you are, what you want to be, set your expectations. They have to be realistic. Most people don't have realistic expectations. They think they're great communicators. 10% of the people are great communicators. Majority are not. Most people think they're leaders. Majority are not. You have to know, okay, I'm in love or I'm lusting.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm all these emotions. You can have a relationship with anybody, even an animal. But you got to draw the line between, okay, are we going here with it? Are we going to stand on this right here? Whether that's just experimenting, enjoying the emotions, or you actually trying to build a relationship, because those are not the same. But I'll leave it there.
I'll go on to the next question if anyone wants to chime in. What is your description of a good woman?
We all get our glasses
Don't be
out.
scared.
Binoculars.
No, I'm just letting the room breathe for a second. I'm not scared. I have no problem with this. For me, my perspective, a good woman is a healed woman, a woman that's self-aware. For me, I mean, it's real simple. A woman that's healed and practices good self-awareness.
I'm actually glad that you brought up the aspect of healing, because I think a lot of us consider healing or being healed, like there's a really common phrase in the dating sphere. It's like, hey, come healed. Healing is a journey. It's not a destination. It's not a point you get to. It's something you work towards. And like you said, as long as somebody is working towards that healing, like you have to determine where they are on their timeline and their progression, and see if that coincides with where you are in your progression. So I think it's a lot of this is very subjective. So what is good to one person may not necessarily be good to another person. So I think it more so reflects on how well you know yourself and your ability to determine who is good for you.
Okay, so right to just expound on that before I find to tell y'all what my perfect woman look like. But yeah, it's that's a whole opening question. No, like you said, it's a journey. No one is completely healed. Everybody has a trigger. So it may be something that we do that happened before to y'all before, and it triggers y'all, but it may not even have the same outcome. That may be a whole different outcome what we may do because we're not the same person as they got. See what I'm saying? So when I approach a relationship, I try to say, well, these are some of the things I demand. I'm not breaking down the wall I didn't build. I'm not earning trust I didn't lose. And I'm not fighting a battle that I didn't start. Those are three things I try to walk this relationship with. Why? Because I'm not going to give you that. I'm going to come in and trust you. I believe what you tell me. I'm not going to give you a wall to have to climb or have to beat through. I got John Henry strength. I do. I will fight to the end. You know what I'm saying? But shouldn't have to. You see what I'm saying? We should grace these relationships and actually walk into them the way we need to. So like you say, healing is never a jump. So you have to go in and know your triggers. Once you know your trigger, figure out where it's going to lead you before you react. They become combative again. Everybody always combative. Everybody fight. Well, I'm first. I'm this. I'm that. Well, somebody got to sit down and say, well, okay, baby, you first. Tell me what's wrong. Let me fix that. Fix it first. And then invite out yours. Like, well, then this is my problem. So she can allow herself to fix it. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, my perfect woman is a woman I ain't got to do all that with.
I'll let you introduce yourself after you finish this question.
Yeah, what is a good woman? It's kind of like the brother said before. It's really relative, but I think I won't even say I think through communication. I think that when I went through business, I went out and I communicated with these people, and I did everything in order to make them come and pass all these shots and pass all these other DJs. So I think it's the same thing with a woman. It's like, I don't care how you look. I don't care your money. I mean, I care about your money, but where are we going? What are our children? Are your mistakes graceful? Are your mistakes coming toward me? Am I your problem? And then if I am the problem, if I would work it out in business, then why wouldn't I do it in a relationship? Because this woman, she's not going to come here. I'm not here. But we working toward it, though. I see you broken. You got one leg, I got two legs, one arm broke. Let me use your legs, you use my legs, and let's work together to get somewhere. So I think, like I said, it's just having so many, like I said, I'm a former HAN, and I ain't going to say that is a guy shit. Like, so if y'all can fill in what an HAN is, and that's exactly what I was. There you go. For real. So, I mean, just like they say, it's relative, but I would say a good woman is a woman that's coachable, committed, and they stand on 7 P's with me. That's why I put the blessings in, because once I break down the wall, you got to set an anchor. Like the president do it with us all the time. Make America great again. Then when you hear America great again, now you start positioning that toward Trump. So you got to do the same thing in your relationship. So that's just me, though.
Introduce yourself for our Sister Sunday name Women Loving Men.
Okay. And do apologize, fellas, for being late. Got off of work.
It's a no judgment zone here.
Oh, okay. All good. I still want to just apologize. My name is Derek Simmons. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. I have a production studio, film studio. So any type of content creation, from movies to YouTube to any type of content created. I also do sound and lighting for events. So if you need any type of sound and lighting, that's what I do as well. I've been doing it for 30 years.
Thank you. Okay, I'll go on to our next question. Oh, you want to answer that question? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so, good woman, I think, everybody kind of landed in a space where it is relative. And for me, I think it's important that a good woman is a principled woman. Healing is something that can be done through principle. And I think it's important to always go into that place of principle. For me, I always go back to Proverbs. I'm a biblical principle person. And I go back to Proverbs. Proverbs 31 is an amazing woman. But I think that amazing woman should be the Proverbs 31 man, right? And what you see in there is a man who is sober-minded and able to handle her emotions. Naturally, a good woman needs a man that has emotional intelligence. Well, how can he be emotionally intelligent without a sober mind, right? And so a principled woman needs to meet a principled man. And for me, that's that Proverbs 31 man meeting that Proverbs 31 woman, which is my wife. I was definitely going to bring up Proverbs 31 because it describes a good woman right there, a virtuous woman. For me, the kind of man I was when I found my woman, I needed a woman that could go to God and petition God for me, because my hands was filthy. So that made her a good woman for me. Like you're saying, it's relative. And y'all forgive me, public speaking is not my thing at all. So,
You're doing fine.
but that's what it was for me. A woman who can go to God, who kept her hands clean enough to go to God for me. That's what made her a good woman, and that's why we still together to today.
Because I think the substance of the question really is deeper than just saying honesty and loyalty, all of these great sweet nothings that we all want to hear. As a leader, as a person who represents yourself, oneself, you should set a standard where it's easy to be a good woman, but you got to maintain being a good woman. You got to stay a good woman. So to sum it all up, it's more about being consistent with being a better person. Every day you're trying to be better than you were the day before, whether your significant other or your partner frustrates you, or you and your emotions and your feelings and all of that stuff. Those are really just words. The actions determine who you want to be and what you want to be. If you say you want to be good, you got to maintain good. And that's pretty much all I got.
Okay, since the ice was broken about Christ, definitely one who follows Christ. And obviously a Proverbs 31 woman as well, but let's be honest, that is a perfect woman and there's no perfect people on this earth.
Period.
But that, and also a woman that listen to understand, not listen to respond. Due to the fact that I need to be understood, because if I chose you, that means there has to be some issue, the reason why I did something that you might not like. So to be able to listen, to understand, and be able to locate me, because sometimes we can live together, we could coexist, but have no relationship. But with the relationship, you should be able to locate that person.
Are we just listening to the questions as you roll it out, or are we able to ask questions as you
We're
go
gonna
along?
go to our questions at the end. So they're gonna be very protective and we'll ask the questions.
You don't make me write a lot.
Yep. It's our turn to listen. We're gonna listen to what they have to say. Okay, define masculinity. What is the misconception that women have about masculinity in regards to relationship?
That's a good one. I like
I
that.
said, wait, what? Define masculinity. What is the misconception that women have about masculinity?
I would say a big misconception is that we don't have feelings, or that we came to fix you, or that no matter what, once you get complacent, like that, I'm not gonna see that, and I'm not gonna check that. Masculinity, I would just say it's strength, it's leadership. That's how my pops was. I had my father, my actual father wasn't a leader, but when I met, I'm not gonna call him a stepdad, I'm gonna call him a bonus dad because he stood on business.
That's right.
When he came in, my mama was a hard-headed woman who was doing whatever she wanted to, and in 2 weeks she was in a hajib. We was in Islam. You know what I'm saying? Because of his consistency, his leadership, and he stood on what he said. So it's the same thing, but that misconception is that we get weak. We get weak too. Yes, we cry. And the reason that we don't communicate and tell these things to y'all or vent like Kevin Samuels talked about, it's not about us being weak in front of y'all. It's about the trust, what you're going to do with the information.
That's right. That's right.
That's it.
Yep.
Keep it right here. Keep it right here. If you love me like you say you love me and I tell you something and I'm weak, don't bring that up when we get pissed off. Go in the room and tell God. Because God, you going to tell me. That's your relationship. But don't bring it back over here. Because once we get disrespected once, we don't know how to heal back to what he was talking about with emotional intelligence. We don't know how to say, Mama, you hurt me. What? And they're like, all right, let me get back on it. I'm lifting weights. And really, we weak as hell inside.
I think one of the misconceptions is that all men are the same. I actually had a talk with my daughter, and she was like, all men cheat, Daddy.
Oh,
So I might as well just pick that evil. And I was like, you didn't see me cheat? She was like, yeah, but you probably did. I said, well, describe cheating. And once she started describing cheating, I said, yeah, I did. But I'm not saying all men do. But I think the misconception is to say that we all, and it wasn't like, when she went into some definitions and stuff. So I think to have a conception that we are all the same. And we operate the same, and we all want the same, and we don't. All of us up here probably got different feelings about certain things that value to us. So I think that's a misconception. So my advice would be go into it trying to open and trying to learn and see what he wants. What's his love language?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what I think the misconception is that women have, and I'm just using this as how they introvert into their masculinity, which they should never have, but screaming and playing tough is not masculine. I know y'all think that's what it is. Like, it's not. We kind of look at you like you crazy. Like, listen, when you know you can't really do nothing good, I'm not gonna hit you. But why are you screaming? Lower your tone. You know what I'm saying? I think that when we that being masculine means aggression. We're not always aggressive. We're aggressive when we're supposed to be. Some people just ignorant, just aggressive, be aggressive. But a lot of men, we're dealing with men, we're aggressive when we're supposed to be. And that's when it's come to protecting. And women, I know women feel uncovered, but when you're around a man, and I'm pretty sure y'all all walk into a situation where y'all ain't even have to know this man, but he gave you an aura that I'm safe. That's when you know you got a man. See what I'm saying? If that man don't make you feel safe, you don't have that man. That's the masculinity. Me and my little brother had a conversation with my daughter, and he asked my daughter, he was like, because she keep choosing bullcrap man. She's finna be 27 this year. I know I don't look that old. I gave him age, but he said, he actually said, when your father is around, do you feel safe? She said, yeah. He said, do you feel that everything's gonna be taken care of? She said, yeah. She said, if that's not how you feel, he said, if that's not how you feel when you with your man, then that's not your man. That's right. And I always tell my daughter, once you find a man, you shouldn't have to ask me for nothing. If any moment in time I have to come in there, you know, so I'm teaching my daughter the difference between masculine and feminine. And it's any other time I have to come in there, you have to call me for something that's not your man, you gotta go. And I'm telling you gotta go. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I don't want women to get that misconception of, you know what I'm saying, when you just come to being masculine, you gotta be no, man, it's ways we operate to show us our masculinity. See what I'm saying? And a lot of times, a lot of situations be messed up for us because it always turns financial, but it never turns to the substance. See what I'm saying? The 20% is the money, the 80% is us. See what I'm saying? Like this brother was saying, I watched this man walk in with his son, and he told his son, you finna write me an essay, you want some dreads. You finna find your book in here. That's the substance. That's the leadership in the home. That's us doing what we're supposed to do. We come here and do this with stepkids. Yeah. We teaching stepkids how to be better men. You know what I'm saying? But the women don't notice the 70%, just to 80% because they don't understand the difference between masculine energy and feminine. See what I'm saying? When you know a masculine man around, everything in the house goes better. Everything. I'm talking about the functionality, everything. Because one thing we ain't gonna do is live in dysfunction. Men, like I said in my book out, man you seek versus boy you want. The boy is gonna live in dysfunction. A boy is gonna lay around. A boy is gonna do anything. A man automatically come in and start making changes. And you know these changes is needed because you don't say nothing. That's right. You know what I'm saying? That's masculinity. So I want y'all to get that.
To that point you brought up, I appreciate that. It made me think about, I was tired of going first every round, so I was like, let me sit back. I've had conversations recently, and in my profession, I'm a business therapist, so I get paid to listen to, and most of my portfolio is professional women. So it's been very interesting over the last 18 years, the things that I've learned. But recently, I've asked women now that I'm single, certain pillars that I live by now. I say that, to your point about healthy masculinity, and you're in that presence, you feel safe. Well, there's 6 things that I noticed that I practice. Regardless of if you're a woman in my presence, whatever the context is, I want you to feel 6 things. I want you to feel seen. I want you to feel heard. I want you to feel safe. To your point, I want you to feel light. I'm not dumping heaviness onto your world. Already, you know, as a man, we problem solve and we critical think. I want you to feel peace, and I want you to feel special. I may be missing one, but I asked several women that question: when's the last time you've been with a man and they made you feel all 6 of those things? And the response I get is they throw out a relative. Oh, well, my dad. No, we're talking about in a relationship context. And usually the answer is never. And so I think the misconception is what we aspire for as a woman versus what we actually need. So I'm introducing a concept they haven't experienced. And so they want that. And so by me introducing it, I think it's refreshing because that's something I'm choosing to live by. And I think, and I have a men's self-care and grooming course that I teach. So I'm not only just trying to practice it, but I'm trying to introduce it because I think biologically in our spirits as women, my perception is that this is what we want. But how do we communicate that? So that's my observation.
If I may just.
I got something to say all the time. So, I'm opinionated and I'm gonna speak with, but just to make it quick, when we're using words masculinity and feminism and all of this, we're pretty much saying titles, labels, and so that goes down to roles. What role do you play as a masculine role? The expectations are that you're supposed to do protecting, providing, etc. The expectations, again, are the issues that people are having because you're expecting that this man is going to do what the masculine men do. That's you projecting your expectations on somebody. He's probably the 80%, not the 10 or 20. So it boils down to what your expectations are from the people you're dealing with and what expectations you have for yourself, what you're expecting other people to provide for you. Because things like happiness and stability and all of these things, they do come from others, but it's really internal where you're gonna get all of those answers and all of that from. You want a partner, a masculine man, to hold you down in that journey, but that's not in the cards for everybody. And I'll leave it right there.
So I'm gonna take a detour really quick. One of the biggest things that people fail to realize concerning masculinity is that, just like he said, it's a term. Like, these are terms. Men, we have a unique and distinct path. We have an end goal. Our end goal is father. That's our end goal. We come into this world as males. Our first relationships are sons. Our second relationships are brothers and sisters. Our third relationships is as we get older, is the relationship with the woman. And we make that selection. And when we make that selection with the woman, then we come into fatherhood when we have a child. That's our last space. Whether it's grandfatherhood, it's fatherhood. And fatherhood, when you come into a relationship with a man, you understand masculinity if you understand father. The biggest issue that many of our women are facing when they're coming to spaces with men is the father issue. It's the father issue. I'm not saying that everybody didn't have their father in the home. I'm just saying they might not have the best representation of what a father looked like. And because they don't have that expectation or understanding of what a father looks like, when they get in a relationship, masculinity looks aggressive. It looks aggressive. It looks domineering. It doesn't look like a partnership. It doesn't look like cultivating. It doesn't look like building and developing. It looks like domination, like literally oppressive. And so when a man comes in and you say, hey, look, I got order for my life. I got the standard. I got direction. A lot of women, they kind of back out. They do. Because guess what? A term comes to mind. It's called submission. And submission naturally steers a lot of people away. Men, they run away from it. Women, they run away from it. But it's a real unique term. And it's a compound word, submission. It means substitute your mission. When we come into a union, marriage, we substitute the mission. We have one mission. We used to have that one mission I wanted to do. You used to have that thing you wanted to do. We came together, started a family. We have one mission. We're a union. And as a father, we're actually obligated and commissioned to navigate that union. And we have to have our women to understand that when we come into a relationship.
Man, I'm glad you brought up the word submission, because it has a really toxic connotation, when in actuality, what a lot of women translate the word submission to, it's actually the definition of the word subjugation. And that has no place in a relationship. Because it doesn't matter who you are, what relationship you have to anybody else. It is not your job to subjugate another human being. And I think that we as Black folk have a particular understanding of what subjugation really looks like in application. So it requires a lot of internalized discipline, especially in terms of being, when we talk about masculinity. As a masculine man, it requires strength, but as anybody who does any level of exercise, the stronger you get, the more control you have to have. Because you're not going to walk around using 100% of what you got, because you're going to tear up everything you touch. You have to have the strength to be soft and to be able to control what you have been able to cultivate and develop.
I think one of the biggest misconceptions about masculinity that women have is that it's an outward appearance, or like the brothers say, it's the rah-rah, or it looks like something. Personally, I think masculinity is more so about the way you think, the way you process information, versus the masculine being a logical way of thinking. you see a problem, you see an issue, and you immediately begin formulating a way to solve the issue, versus the feminine, where you see an issue and then you process your feelings about the issue. And that's the biggest difference, or the biggest misconception, is that I don't care how tough a person looks or appears outwardly, if they don't process information in those ways, then it's not masculine to me.
I'll go on to the next question. What would you like to see change regarding the relationship from Black women? You first, Mimi.
You can go ahead. I would say, don't get me wrong, I love my Black women, but I would say have patience with us, honestly. And the reason why I say that is because there's a lot of things that we are unlearning as Black men, from having to hide your feelings, hide your emotions. So being able to be outward can be difficult for some men. So that's why I would say patience, because for some reason, I don't know why, but Black women kind of elevated past us in a sense. So if you want a Black man, sometimes you might have to sit back a little bit and maybe even groom that man, birth that man, but I would definitely say have patience with us, because a lot of us are trying, especially if you don't have an education or don't even seek information for yourself. So you're going to be behind the power curve even more. But once again, I'm going to say have patience with us.
Can y'all please stop listening to these people on the internet, these women on the internet? They really think God, and then y'all coming and bringing it back to the house. I don't care about what Derek Jackson did. Yeah, he's slow. That's what's up. Good job, brother. Good job. But stop thinking that because in this microwave society, everybody following this cancel culture. That's why you see best friends cutting off best friends. I'm gonna just cut them off. Or you see, like I was just telling my little brother that I'm like, bro, chill out, bro, dang, this thing ain't gonna go nowhere. He's like, man, I gotta go do it. So it just more so stop canceling us out and start listening, just like my boy said, listen to respond and listen to understand. But stop listening to the people on the internet just because they got the lives that you think that they want. Or you didn't play Grand Theft Auto and your boy got $5 million on there, but they ain't got no money in real life. Stop listening to the internet. Please put your phone in the trash can when it comes to our relationship. The phone don't matter, because if you come to me and say Sanaa Lathan said something, I'm gonna Sanaa lead you to their top.
Okay, what I would say is know your power.
There you go. Who said it? Right there. Okay. I'm sorry.
You see, what y'all fail to realize is we do everything for y'all. You see what I'm saying? We was groomed to do what? Protect and provide for y'all. So if you don't understand that y'all have a power, an innate ability to get us to fold under any circumstance. See what I'm saying? All you got to do is love us correctly. You see what I'm saying? Love is unbiased. Love is, what you say, listen and don't judge? That's love. That is love. You got to listen and not judge. See what I'm saying? Everybody has a past. Everybody's broken. So it's going to be an issue with somebody. You know what I'm saying? But at what point do you understand your power? Y'all are the healing mechanism. And I'm going to break it down to how y'all are the healing mechanism. In slavery, when the man used to get whipped, the pregnant woman used to go in there with their breast milk and feed it to the slave man that was beaten so that he can heal faster. You have the healing power. We don't. Y'all do. Y'all bring the healing, we're going to bring everything else. Heal us. Y'all should know it. He gave y'all the power to give life and sustain it. Through breast milk, a child is what? It's smarter. It grows up smarter. It grows up faster. Its limbs better. You have the innate ability to heal us, but won't. Because it's competition. So we've been taught to be divided. You know what I'm saying? But if y'all don't come heal us, we're never going to be healed. You have to understand that we're never going to be healed if y'all don't come heal us. He gave y'all all the healing abilities through y'all body. So if y'all don't recognize that with us and understand y'all power, we always gonna be like.
I'll say a couple of things. One is stop lying. Because women, they lie so much. If they just stop. I ain't come start nothing. I'm just saying, just stop. No, for real. But you gotta be honest. We talk to, always keep a little something on the side. Keep your own account. You know what I'm saying? With your money, financially, you talk. No, don't let them know. Don't let your left hand know what your right hand doing. And so that carries on as you begin to, she looking like that. As you begin to grow up, you start low key lying to your partner about different stuff and not really being. So I would say being trustworthy, first of all, and communicating to that person. Feel comfortable to open up and tell them whatever you need to tell them, and being honest with them about your past, about everything that you feel that you need to, because you want them to be honest with you and you want us to be honest. But I don't feel that a lot of women will be honest, and therefore we give you counsel based on what you told us, not the truth. So we counsel you based on that you were just bad management of your money. No, you wasn't bad management. You had different problems with your money, and you did this. So you lied, and so therefore we'll give you counsel according to what you tell us. And if you tell us that, then we give you counsel according to that. And now we don't give you counsel. We think we doing our job. We think it's happy, and you lying the whole time. You telling us you got one body count, you got 30, you got 40, you got, I'm just, I'm lying. All right.
We didn't learn anything else today. We learned to stop lying. For me, I'm gonna take it a different direction. For me, I personally, now I've made plenty of mistakes in relationships, but I think as a person, not as a man or woman, you self-reflect and you learn from those. So you're hearing the version of the evolved, healed version now. So this is not about me having the right answers. This is just, I've learned some lessons. So for me, I think I don't have any problems with women right now in my life. I hear people talk about the dating market. It sucks. The analogy I say is, why do I go to a swamp and complain about it not being being a certain condition? I just don't go there. So the behaviors that we're talking about, I don't experience that now because I don't. I'm more aware of, if I want a white Lexus and I'm looking on the freeway, every white car looks like a white Lexus until I get closer. The wisdom is, how far can it get before I discern it's not what I'm looking for? I don't need to wait until they get in front of me and I complain about it. I don't have those kind of challenges, and that's from a perspective of accountability. And I think as a man, the thing that I work on with the men that are in my course, and I work on myself, is 4 things. One, as men, we have not learned our generational curses. We don't understand the last 5 men relationships in our lives. A lot of times that information is hidden, it's secretive, and we can't fight for it. I had to fight for that information. Secondly, we don't start healing. Then thirdly, we don't have identity. When you don't have identity, the 4th one, you can't project vision. Right now, I understand exactly who I am and exactly what I plan to do for the next 20 years. When you engage that kind of energy, to the point I brought up earlier, those 6 things I brought up, I don't have to ask a woman to be submissive. Naturally, they rest. Even if they aren't aware of it. I've been in conversation with women where I can see that they're not even aware that this is a behavior they normally do. They're experiencing it for the first time. So I think as men, if we do the internal work and then be selective about who we interact with, I think that process will be eliminated a little bit better. It won't be perfect, but I think it'll be a little bit better.
I believe the original question was, what would we like to see change in regards to the Black woman in dating, in relationships? Again, being married 16 years, I'm sitting on the sideline watching a lot of this stuff go on. But one thing I like to see change, because it's rampant and it's gone way too far. One thing I like to see change is Black women seem to monetize the relationship way too much nowadays. What I was in the Applebee's. I was in Applebee's eating lunch one day, and I saw a young white boy and a young white girl eating lunch. And it hit me, you know, it was an attractive couple. And I see him and I'm thinking, if he was a brother, he wouldn't be able to get away with that. Applebee's, that's not acceptable in our community. And that's an issue. Like, everything is about how much you're spending and stuff like that. That's one of the main things that we need to change, get rid of, as far as me observing from the sidelines.
As I chime in with that, I think one of the things, and it's going to reach out to when I just walked in earlier, is self-awareness. I think when our Black women really dive into the self-awareness space, it'll kind of dispel a lot of the delusional things that they see about us. One thing is I see often is that emotions creates this reality, and even when truth or fact is presented, their reality is still solidified in that emotion. And I can give you all the documents, I can give you all the statistics, and none of that will matter because the emotion is blocking information. And I would say that be mindful of your emotions. When you're making exchanges with men, we're very logical creatures. And so we're always assessing our surroundings. That's how we protect. We're always consuming information. That's how we understand what's going on. And that we do that for you, not only for us, but when there's something that takes place that may threaten your ecosystem, immediately there's a wall that goes up, and it's very hard for us to get to you. Naturally, we have to wait. So if you want the relationship to be expedited, move faster, grow faster, self-reflection, understand how your emotions cause you to shut down, understand how your emotions cause you to run away, understand how your emotions cause you to isolate, understand those emotions. I'm not saying women, this is only isolated to women, because men have emotions too, right? But we got to make sure that, hey, I'm not just bringing emotions to the conversation. And if you have to take an hour, 2 hours to calm down and get back, do that. But be aware of your emotions so we won't have delusional conversations and go in circles. Honestly, I think my perspective on it is, it really boils down to one word: standard. Mm-hmm. If you don't have a standard, you don't know how to measure anything. Yeah. And that goes with anything that you do in life, whether it's your job, whether you're fixing something. Hey, look, there's a certain way things have to go together. And I think a lot of our Black women have a very difficult time establishing a standard and holding to that standard. And a lot of times when because I've had this conversation before, but the idea of a standard is not your wish list for what you want out of that man. What type of character does he have? Not how much money does he make, because you'll hear $100,000, $250,000, $500,000, but you really have no framework for what those numbers actually mean. They just sound good. Mm-hmm. Cool, like that's great, but that's part of your wish list. How good is he with money? That's the standard. How does he manage it? How does he conduct himself under stress? How does he deal with his emotions, and how deeply does he understand himself enough to be able to understand your emotions? So when you bring him something, you don't have to be worried about, oh, hey, I don't know how he's gonna take this. No, hey, look, I've seen how he deals with it. Like, I have this idea and I've set the standard. Hey, look, if you're not at the very least at this, I'm not fooling with you. And then you can cut out a lot of the nonsense after that. You don't have to deal with, oh, hey, like I'm healing from my last 3 relationships. No, because you had your standards in place. Dude, he didn't meet that. Okay, cool. And then you just move on.
I always got something. This one is a touchy one. What I will say is this. As people, the expectations and accountability is set for everyone, not just men or women. But speaking on the women, a lot of women have made it through life not really having to take accountability. I know a lot of women have never had to say, I apologize or I'm sorry for anything they've done. And so, with that being said, as people, as individuals, we got to set the expectations. And when we set them, they have to be realistic for who we are. When you look at yourself and you say, oh, I want to be like her, but she put in the work and you're not putting in the work, you can't expect to get the results that she's getting. Right. In a relationship, the communication is going to waver, but as a woman, you can take the role that's given to you, or you can look at it from a logical standpoint and say, hey, this is what's best for the relationship. This is what's best for me as a woman to be able to be a better woman for this man if that's what you choose to do. You got to learn to stand on your principles, regardless if you're frustrated or if you're emotional, or if people convince you, friends, family members telling you how you should live your life. Never let somebody tell you what you need. You go within and find it. And I'll leave it like this.
Okay, and I'll have this to be the last question, and we'll open up the questions for anyone in the audience who would like to ask. Question. What do Black men need to change in regards to about themselves to improve their relationships with Black women?
Good question. Good question.
I'll go first. Honestly, I think this comes down to just recognizing who you want to be as a man and as a person. See, everybody want to be the leader. They want to be the man. They want to be at the top, but they don't want to take what comes with it and the responsibility. If you're going to be in a relationship, it's not about you anymore. It's about the family, the building, the foundation. So all of those emotions, personal feelings, whenever you start speaking about I'm not happy, you in the wrong situation, because there is no I anymore. It's the family. And it goes down from there. So you got to learn to compartmentalize your emotions, your goals, your expectations, and all of that, and align it with your personal frequency. Whenever you get in with somebody, as a man, you say, I want to be with her, but you can't let go of being with these women on the side, and you got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, is this really what I want to do? Because you're not being honest with yourself. If you can't let that go, you're not ready. And until you're ready, as a man, you just should play the back. And I'm going to leave it right there.
I mean, honestly, like it's still standard, because a lot of us, we don't hold ourselves accountable, which is how you end up with a woman who is trying to take advantage of you. Bro, you knew that from the jump. You saw what she was. You saw how she moved, and you did it anyway, because you didn't have a standard that you were willing to hold yourself to. It requires accountability out of us. So you can't just say, oh, hey, yeah, like, yeah, I should have fooled with her. Yeah, bro, she got me. No, bro, you got you.
You knew it wasn't no white lace.
You knew what it was when you signed up. Exactly. You knew it wasn't white laces. But you had to get up on it. You like, hey, let me drive this around for a couple months real quick. Bro, it wasn't an L nowhere in sight, sir. This is a Hyundai. This is a Nissan Altima, and you know it. And it's black. This is not the word for what you're looking for. But because you didn't hold yourself. That's why I switched to a Nissan. But no, it wasn't what you were looking for, and you still chose to get involved. And now you feel some kind of way because the wrong thing that you picked turned out to be the wrong thing. So it requires the same thing out of our women that it requires out of us. It's a different application, but it's the same equation. Mm-hmm. You have to set your standards, which requires you to go inward and say, hey, what is it about me that is allowing me to continuously betray myself in this way? And I'm constantly picking somebody that doesn't align with me, even though, because at the end of it, you going back to the beginning, you like, I saw this, I saw that, I sure the credit wasn't right, like she was talking crazy, but you thought it was cute at the beginning. And that ain't it. Like, we have to hold ourselves accountable the same way we would like our women to hold themselves accountable.
So I would jump in. I got three things. One, as men, to support the women, we have to own it all. And owning it all doesn't mean that we take on everything and do everything, but we have to make sure that we consider everything. That's owning it all. A lot of times we conflate the two, and we think that we have to do everything, and we run ourselves ragged, and she never asked for that. And then we're pointing the finger, saying that it was her fault, saying that she did this, and the reason why we're in this position is because of her. Nah, man, you tried to do it all. You didn't ask for help. You didn't ask for help from your partner, and you treated it like it was just your thing and not our thing. So own it all, making sure you're aware of everything that's going on and becoming a partner, one with your wife. Number two, I think, and I'm always go back to the biblical principles, submit one to another. Be able to submit to your lady. Be able to submit to the advice that she gives. I promise you, these women are equipped with something called intuition, and they're very good at being able to give you some information. I can't tell you how many times I thank my wife for her words. And so just be able to submit one to another. Be able to apologize too. You want women to apologize, be able to apologize too. We always talk about this masculine thing and, you know, hiding our feelings and stuff like that. I'm able to say, hey, look, I'm vulnerable enough today, but I messed up. It was me. But submit one to another. And then the third thing is, I just want to apologize from the black men to the black women. Y'all wasn't made to be this strong.
That's right.
You all are amazingly strong. I had to tell my mom this. I apologize to her. I tell my sisters this. I tell my wife this. Any woman who has had a life with a male, a father, a brother, we were meant to protect them. And you all are really in a position, like my brother said over here, that you have exceeded many of us black men. And the reason why we're in this position is because we've allowed you all to take roles that you shouldn't have had to. Of course, there's a lot of roles. We talked about it, but you shouldn't have had to. My mom raised 5 kids by herself. She shouldn't have had to be that strong. I put that on my dad, right? There's women out there raising children right now. They shouldn't have to be that strong. I got a nonprofit organization supporting women who have children because they don't supposed to have to be that strong. So forgive us for not being as strong as we should be. But I promise you, this panel right here, I can tell by the communication, is a different breed.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I would say one thing that as men we can do is listen to the woman and give them what they're asking for versus what we want to give them. I had to learn that from my ex-wife. You know, I spent a whole bunch of money, whole bunch of time that I didn't even have to. She didn't even want that. I could have just listened and gave her what she was asking for. And so that's what I would say. One thing is to do that, to be able to give them what they're asking for and be humble enough to ask them, what do you want? You know, not automatically assume that you're doing it right. You know, just ask them. The next thing I would say is knowing yourself. Knowing yourself so you can effectively communicate with your daughters, with your sons, with your kids. Men, we have to really know ourselves to communicate with them. And I think if we just humble ourselves enough to say, hey, I'm not making an excuse because my father wasn't here. Take the excuses away. You know, in the life that I live right now, I can't make an excuse. I got to make it happen. So whether I had a father, whether slavery, whether oppression, all of this, no, I got to figure this thing out. So I think as men, we got to really be aggressive on making a conscious decision of saying, this is what I want and this is how I'm going to get it.
Coming from a person that was like on some so-called being a player and stuff like that, I think that one of the first things is being honest. Like saying exactly what it is you want. Because as you see, he's a byproduct of me running that game and consistently doing it. And I kept on, it was kind of like being stuck in Mario on level 2. And I want to get to Bowser, but I'm still stuck on level 2. So number one, be honest with them, be honest with yourself. Just like everybody say, accountable. I always say, it's not everybody's fault that I was swimming so fast when I came on my daddy nutsack. I gotta take accountability. And that biggest thing, I would say that communication of spirituality and stop sitting and standing like, well, if you don't believe in Jesus and you don't believe in Muhammad, like y'all gotta find somewhere to find it. Build the damn tree yourself.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? No matter what grandma and them doing. My grandma used to say, we're not gonna stop eating pork. I've been eating pork 105 years. I'm not gonna stop. So, that's the biggest thing. And be willing, as men that's watching this, just be willing to OG up. Like you said, play your role. I can listen to him and be like, take that. I appreciate it, OG. Please talk to me. But also be critically listening. Like people be saying, white folks, they keeping all the information. I done ran up on a white person in the Maserati. What would you do to get this, man? You just give me the game because it's about strong communication. And once again, I take it from my business and I always bring it back to the house. You can even ask my son, I'd be so creative in the streets and come home and kick his ass and be mad. And not be a learning person on you feel what I'm saying? Ask him. It's the truth. And we ain't gotta yell at each other. He ain't gotta be scared. Cop! See, back in the day, but you see what I'm saying? So do that same thing, my pops always said, get your practice at home. You know what I'm saying? So straight game.
I'm gonna echo what the brothers had already said. Like he said, you could tell from what they're saying, it's a different breed. Because the main thing that I see black men need to do to better our relationships is accountability. We do. We have to be. We can't lead. You can't lead without accountability. You can't. The time for saying what she did, what they did, what they doing, that's over with. You know, you have to take it upon yourself. If I go in anywhere I go, anything I go into, if anything goes wrong, it's on me. I did the math wrong. All I could do from moving forward is doing the math better. 2 + 2 is 4. 2 + 2 is not 5. 2 + 2 is 4, and get it right. Other than that, like the brother say, stop lying. That's something that we as black men, we need to stop lying. So I think those 2 things, be accountable and stop lying. Those are the main 2 things that we need to do to get this thing right.
So I'm gonna expound on this brothers here first. Now, not to knock nothing you said, but I'm sorry, lady, you were supposed to be the strong. God don't make no mistakes. That's what I was always told. So if God made a mistake by making you stronger than anything, that means he done messed up. Have y'all ever heard of God messing up? You were designed to be stronger than us. Why? So you can get us here. So we can have these conversations. See what I'm saying? If it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't even made it this far. See, we wouldn't have made it out of slavery. It was y'all that's holding us back to, hey, listen, listen, nigga, we can't do too much rebelling. We ain't gonna be here. See what I'm saying? If everybody had a fault, we all would have died. Annihilation. We wouldn't even be here. So if it wasn't for y'all and y'all strength, y'all were designed to be this strong so that y'all can make us strong. Like I said, healing. Y'all the healers. You see what I'm saying? So God don't make no mistake. Now, what he said was great. You're right. You were not supposed to be this strong. but now we here. Now we here. Since it's a lot of us, and it's not just this panel. I know I party with a lot of brothers. I come in contact with a lot of black men, and when I say they on that, everybody I know about their business, kids, they baby mamas even straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they maybe I'll get dudes at the house. The kids need something, I'm sending it. Mm-hmm. We're different breed. My son don't want from them. My baby mama ain't bought my son none since he been born. He 8. We're a different breed. You see what I'm saying? So y'all was supposed to be as strong as y'all was to get us where we at. You know what I'm saying? And as far as like what black men take line, because I'm lied a lot. I lied a lot. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? I want to yes, we do that. I'll tell you, I promise you that line is just madness. It'll change a lot of things.
Yeah, I got it back though. That one definitely stop lying. I was a habitual liar too. My life definitely changed once I stopped lying, just being honest. But I'm also saying know yourself. He said that know yourself, but also ultimately know your purpose. Because you can know yourself, but if you're not walking in your purpose, then you kind of just walking in circles. You could be walking but not go nowhere. You're just constantly walking in circles. So I'm gonna say know yourself, know your purpose. Because don't get involved with nobody, a woman, none of that without knowing your purpose. How you gonna lead them? How you gonna guide them? Yeah.
I ended up blending my other point about us and my earlier point. The same thing I said, as men, we haven't spent that private time in our own wilderness of really asking those hard questions about the last generations, because there's a pedigree of habits that carry over. If we don't study that, we can't start healing, and we don't have that sense of identity, and then we can't project purpose because we don't know where we're going. And I'll admit to your earlier point about standard, man, I thought I had it right. I set a standard, but my standard was wrong because of my lack of experience and wisdom. And so sometimes you want to set a standard, but practice self-awareness and keep learning and don't give up trying, because sometimes you set a standard that might not be actually healthy, but you learn from that and you get better at it. And so I think within the 4 things that I said earlier, and then also having that standard, but then being okay with understanding how to morph it into a more healthy as you learn and get better. And of course, you'll weave out some of the unhealthy situations that you may find yourself in.
I want to thank you all very much for participating in this panel to help us with our Women Love and Men Vision. Sisters Sunday is dedicated to Black women to bridge the gap in communication, talk about different ways that we can improve our own lives, our businesses, and for you all to be a part of this, it really means a lot, and I really appreciate it. At this time, we're going to give you all your roses. Thank you for participating. We're also going to do a raffle, and the raffle is one of the participants in the audience will be able to win either a lunch date or a business date sponsored by the Sisterhood Foundation. So if you are a single man and one of the ladies win the raffle, they have the opportunity to, if y'all want to have a business meeting, a business luncheon, or a dating luncheon, you're more than welcome to do so. Men, if you win the raffle and you're married, this is a free lunch on sisterhood for you and your spouse. Okay? So right now, while we're getting the tickets passed out, you can take this time to network, talk about your businesses, and mingle amongst the people. You can't ask what I'm not.
Well, you tried to just glance over that, didn't you? Yes, you did. Oh, yes, you did. No.
If you let me finish with the instructions, as we are passing out the tickets for the raffle, the ladies and the participants in the audience have the opportunity to ask you all some questions, okay? So as we're passing it out, you raise your hand first, I'll go with you, and then we'll kind of do that until we have 5 minutes. In the meantime, if anybody wants more food, we have chips and sandwiches and drinks over here at your, if you would like to get some. Christina, did you want to announce Lord Helper? Helper, Lord.
I kind of wanted to explain to y'all how we all came about with this idea. Sometimes we have Sister Sundays to empower Black women, and the majority of the conversation amongst most women in private is about men. So part of empowerment is communication with the opposite sex. I mean, we can't do it without it. And regardless what the media portrays, we want to be lead. And we admire y'all so much. Some of us have you know what I mean? That's how much we love you. That's how much it means to us. So don't ever think that you're not loved by your black women. Yeah. Very much so. We need y'all. We need y'all. We need y'all to educate us on what to look for. Because a lot of us, like me, didn't have their body. So that's all I want to say. Thank
you. Sure. Really, building off of what you said, how much love and appreciation I have for all of you today. This is my fiance. We're getting married on Saturday. It took a long time for me to be ready for marriage with anyone, but it took a very long time for me to understand that Black men, besides my father and my brother, love me and love us, like you were saying. So in feeling the utmost respect for you all and gratitude for the space that I found myself in the week of my wedding, I want to ask you if you can speak about interracial love. As I enter into an interracial marriage, but had to heal and rediscover my worth as a Black woman when I wasn't sure that y'all loved us.
Oh, baby.
Okay. Any other?
Okay.
Then we're gonna answer the question.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So being a byproduct of a great white grandfather, my I guess my background is a little interesting. So my great grandmother was brought over here, I think 1907. She was like 4 or 5. What people don't realize is even though slavery was abolished in 1865, they still was bringing us over here up until like the early 1900s. And she was brought to an island called Monsieur Island. It's in the Mississippi. My great grandfather owned the island. His family owned the island. And him and my great grandmother grew up together. And he ended up raping her. And my grandfather was a byproduct of that. And but they ended up falling in love. And in that era, especially in the Mississippi, in the Delta, man, that their relationship echoed. It echoed because he was a very wealthy man. So when he passed away, they took the island on eminent domain because of a lot of the secrets that's still on that island. You know what I'm saying? If you go by it now, you can't even find it. They do trees around and everything. Like really, it's like abandoned. The railroad, everything to get over there, you can't even go there anymore. You know what I'm saying? And that's still to this day. We try to get it back. But they faced a lot of hatred back then. But this is 2025, baby girl. You know what I'm saying? And those, like he said, stop listening to social media. Social media tell you we don't love you. We love you. We don't care who you date.
That's right.
If I saw you out in the public and he's not around and someone's doing something to you on my soul, I'm gonna protect you.
That's right. Period.
That's any Black woman in here. Anybody that knows me, I do security for a living. The Bible even speaks about a man that's willing to sacrifice his life. You see what I'm saying? I do security for a living. I protect women. I protect Black people. I have association with officers to stop them from preventing them from doing some of the stuff they normally do. You know what I'm saying? So you are protected. You know, so you just let social media blind you. And then you probably had your few little haters because you probably was pretty than they was. That's all. That's all. You good, baby. Trust me, it's 2025. You good. We know Trump in office. Trump, they doing on rallies and feathers. You know what I'm saying? He on his temper. We done dealt with worse than Trump. As a Black culture, we have done with worse than Trump. So if y'all scared of him being in office, y'all tripping. We survived slavery. Come on now. And we ain't the strongest thing around, and everybody trying to duplicate us. You know what I'm saying? You are protected. I guarantee every man on this stage won't let you get in no trouble. I can guarantee you that. And look at the men behind you, they won't either.
Or the women.
You're not alone. Or especially not the sisters.
But they might be fighting with you now. Here we come, because we finna let it happen in the way. Because I'm there. Y'all saw what happened when that brother threw that head in the air. So I got to throw a head in the air and show you. So you, it's 20, maybe it's 2025 now. You good. You good. You too, bro. You good. You know what I'm saying?
As long as you love them,
That's big statement right there, y'all. And I just want to make an addition. Just concerning your statement and your question, we do love you. And all the black women in here and all the black women watching, we love our black women. Y'all are beautiful, amazing, awesome, immaculate. There's a lot of words to describe you. We couldn't put them all in one book, but this is what I will say. Love does not have a color, it has an order.
there you go.
Okay? That young man, follow the order of love, I'm good. Step out of the order of love, we have a problem.
Yeah.
Right? Same thing for these gentlemen here, same things for these women here. And so we love all within the order, not within the color. But I do love my black people. and happy Black History Month.
Straight up. I'm gonna add something real small. And I wasn't gonna say nothing at first, but the situation just kind of happened with my little sister. We grew up in an Islamic household, so I know my pop's probably gonna watch this and get on my head. He even saying anything, y'all just spare me out. But I'm gonna tell you like I tell my little sister, man, we got you. We care about you, and your love, that's your love. Because my sister, she just eloped, just bust out. I get a call, hey, I just got married. God, dog, I ain't even meet him. What's up? Where y'all live? Let me pull up, meet me at Chick-fil-A. But it's the same thing that my little sister was trying to tell me that nobody would listen to her. She said, this is who I love, Ron. And she was raised by, if you don't know anything about Islam, it's like basically when I came in it, it was like Black Panther, like militia. You know what I'm saying? So we understand you and we respect your decision because that's your heart. And we appreciate you. We got you. You got Kimbo Slice right behind you. What you talking about? We got you. No, I just mess around. But for real though, it's big love, big blessing. Don't hate yourself for it. Appreciate yourself. You're back to time.
I would like to say congratulations. Definitely congratulations on it. Know each other, it don't matter the color. You still got to know each other, so we all have different trauma. So I would say understand each other's trauma and know how to deal with that because, stuff going to always happen no matter what. But if you can get it from a place where you understand the next person, then you can deal with it and handle it different.
Thank you.
Yeah. Keep family out the business.
He has been around the bookstore. We've been here for 16 years. So he has been studying like in areas of the book industry that a lot of people have not studied. Like he'll come and say, I need to talk about James Baldwin. I want to be involved. So he has studied a lot of historical work. And no matter where he has been in the country, he has supported the Dog Bookshop. And so I truly appreciate, what you've done and the things that you've done and your awesome guitar. I just wanted to throw that in there just a little bit because he's been around us for a minute.
I'm gonna say something real short, sweet. Me personally now in my life, I don't really care what anybody think about me. And I'm gonna say that because no matter what you got going on, people gonna always have something to say.
Period.
So if it brings you joy, if it brings you happiness, do you. And keep moving. Because regardless, people gonna have something to say.
Thank you.
We're gonna throw this little 2 cents in here. Based on my personal experience, I'm from the country, so I grew up where it was probably 5% blacks or less.
Right.
I dealt with the bunnies early before a lot of my peers and people knew what it was. Then it became a fad and everybody wanted to do it.
Speak on it though.
I got to the age probably about 18, 19 where I started looking around noticing, man, we fighting the wrong wars. Everybody talking about black and white and racism and all of these things, these are all people problems. Black people got the same problems as the white people and every other race we can name. At the end of the day, it's gonna go back to what we were talking about earlier. You gotta be able to find your frequency, and those individuals who are on your same frequency, you deal with them. Everybody else whose frequency is too low or too high, they're not at your on your journey, on your pace. You know what I'm saying? But you can't worry about whether this is a black man or a white man or whatever the situation may be. You got to focus on the problem as people. And I'll just say that to you. Don't take no advice, though. That's the wrong thing. Don't listen to nobody else, because only you got to walk that journey. And when you see God, you can't go where my cousin told me or my mama told me and all those people, because he going to judge you. And you don't want to leave that to somebody else. Man going to let you down every time. You know what I'm saying? Follow your heart, trust what you know, and just try to be a better person. And as a relationship, as a union, if y'all got God where he's supposed to be, you don't have no worries.
No, I just got one more question. I know he said don't pay attention to nothing on social media. And I'm not. But I had.
But
I hear them ground. They ground. Say down here. Look, they waiting.
This video thing is being trending, and I've seen a lot of men commenting on polygamy and polyamorous relationships. And they were just, I guess, on social media, you can say, oh, I love them, I admire them. Oh, look at me, he's just doing the right thing. And then I had thought about the situation that happened when we had the barbers next door and the women broke out fighting. And I had to break up the fight.
Oh, Lord.
And I was like, why don't y'all just do polygamy? Y'all sit out here every other week, y'all fight. You know,
I didn't know where I thought it was going.
That's real talk, because it was every week. And I said, but the women were so mad because they'll fight each other. And he said, you know, I just said put order to it. If you're gonna do it, just put some order to it. I don't want y'all outside of my business fighting every other week. The same thing, and y'all know he's here and he's there. So, real talk, if you're gonna do that, tell the women and get some order.
stop lying.
There you go, y'all. Everybody
That's the whole
said
point of everything I But along to something to add on to that, it's got to do with honesty, and I think that we be looking at that stuff on the internet and be thinking about it in a sexual way instead of what we can build and what we can get.
Right.
Like I go to the country, I found out my grandpa had 31 kids. We got 30 acres over here in Bedford on one side of the family. We got 660 acres out there. But ain't nobody doing nothing with it and nobody standing together. So I think it's just about direction. I ain't gonna speak on the poly thing, but it's kind of like poly when I got all these baby mamas and everybody got to be happy. I'm not just being real. You want the truth about it? Ask him, Kyle, how hard was it with me and your mama? And then say that mama called it. Then I gotta go home. So it's come on, man. Thank you. Don't do it like this, please.
I'll give you my card.
I'll speak to the poly aspect. Look, it ain't for everybody.
No.
And it is definitely not a solution for cheating.
Right. That
No,
part.
if he ain't bound up in with one woman,
The hug.
what makes you think
Hello?
he can be about something because he got a couple more?
Hello?
Like, that's just more dirt. Like, here's the thing. Anybody who's ever been in management, if you ever had to manage anything, if you got kids, I don't care what it is. If you ever had to manage anything, having more of a thing to manage does not make it easier.
Thank you.
So why would you give more responsibilities to somebody that has clearly shown themselves to be irresponsible? Especially with something as precious as another person. A human being? That's what we talking about? No, we're not doing that. Cool. Hey, as far as putting order to it, it just goes back to what this man said. Stop lying. But a lot of dudes can't bring themselves to do that because if I'm honest with you, I gotta be honest with her,
Yes, sir.
and I gotta be honest with her,
Yes, yourself.
and whoever else
Yes.
I decide to involve in this, which means chances are I'm probably not going to get the outcome that I want to get. Like, you have the option to say no if I tell you the truth. I don't want that. I don't want to tell you the truth, because then you're not going to be on what I'm on. But that's really all it boils down to.
Okay, I want to answer her real quick. I want you two to answer her question, and then I want to introduce the two guys that were also supposed to be on the panel, and then we have another question. So I want to kind of get some order to this real quick. So once they answer the question, I'll introduce y'all, let y'all have a few words about what y'all introduce yourselves, and then we'll answer the question. Okay? So you're gonna go? Yeah, we're gonna go in this order. So they'll answer. Them two introduce themselves, and then you ask your question.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna play with it too much. This is one thing that we kind of see so often in our culture, and we think it's okay to hop, skip, jump, and if we really honest with ourselves, I don't want my woman with nobody, and you don't want your man with nobody. So let's not play the game. If you're just superficial and you want stuff, that's what you're doing. Get with a dude that you want stuff from. But this ain't that type of conversation. I don't think this is that type of conversation. I think this is the type of conversation is how can I actually help my black women? And helping my black women ain't me jumping around with another black woman and another black woman and another black woman like my brother said right here. You don't want that, and I don't want that. Now, I can't speak for everybody, but in a general sense, if we look at the masses, you ain't touching me. And you ain't touching my wife either. And I expect a standard, like my brother here said, to say the same thing, right? So I wouldn't play the game with the polygamy or all that other stuff. One husband, one wife, build your kingdom together.
There you go.
And if you want land, go get it together. If you want businesses, go get it together. You can do that. Two will agree. Touching anything on this earth is established. You don't have to have five.
Okay. All right. So let's first get the terminologies correct. Of course, polygamy seems the great aspect for a lot of men who likes multiple women. But if you speaking actually on polyamory and how it started, it didn't start from men just having multiple women. You see what I'm saying? It started back in a time where women didn't have no rights. So if your husband passed away, you and your children was on the side of the road. It was the women that convinced their men, like, well, she was my best friend. She's a great woman. Let's go and marry her into the fold, bring her kids in. We have enough land. We can till, we can be fruitful and multiply. This is where polyamory came from. See what I'm saying? It wasn't the base of, oh, I got multiple women. I got multiple sex partners. No, it never came from that. It came from benefiting the black woman or the woman at that time who had multiple children on the side of the road because she couldn't inherit nothing. Nowadays, it doesn't turn into a sexual term. See what I'm saying? Everybody think, and if you want to be technical, are y'all familiar with the word concubine? Isn't it all throughout the Bible? Didn't Abraham have one? Isaac, Jacob? So doesn't that mean polygamy was around from the beginning? I'm just pointing that out. I'm just pointing out the facts. That not we ain't gonna do emotional. Well, when you make, I mean, Lilith came before Eve, correct? From the beginning. So like I'm saying, now you got to understand the concept of where that come from. Now nowadays, polygamy probably won't work because people don't know the basis of it. You don't understand it. I'm gonna bring this family in, this family in. She gonna bring income in. I'll bring on income in. We can make $15,000 a month. If we set this $15,000 a month aside for a year, we balling. Now we can open up some functions, some businesses. We can buy some land. Now we can build an infrastructure. This is what polygamy was based off of. People don't like that concept no more because everybody think it's sharing. You don't think about generational wealth. You don't think about, what do you say, sacrifice. You got to sacrifice in order to build these type of relationships. I got a homie right now, probably. This man been probably 3 years. When I say they all got scat packs, got a big old house, they done moved to Houston. Like they do their thing because he had the structure now. He had the structure now. You got to understand, the woman always brought the other woman. I want y'all to research this. Fact check me, please. Fact check me, please. The female always brought the other woman. So when people walk into a polyamorous relationship, they looking at it all wrong. You don't know how to do it. That's why it's failing. That's why I look bad. If you go and look at our culture, go over to Africa right now. They still do poly. Most relationships over there are still poly to this day. Fact check me, please. I encourage you. You know what I'm saying? So that's not, you know, so that's not make it a bad term, because it helped us along the way to make sure we didn't have innocent children home and women starving on the side of the road. You see what I'm saying? Nowadays it's all crap now. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? So you liable to get stuck with some BS, because psychological profiling is called social cultural forces. Social cultural forces mean control the media, control the mind. You see what I'm saying? So if I got control of everything you see on the subconsciously or consciously, you're gonna start to imitate that. Whether you believe it or not. Everybody, we're all programmed. Everybody. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got a chain on. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you decide to break it, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? But polyamory is totally different than what people thinking in the basis is. And if you see two women fighting over a stud, they probably ain't finna do no poly because they don't understand the concept of it. So.
Hey, I appreciate all of y'all. I love y'all. I'm blessed. I gotta go to Waco and go pick up my other tab and go pick up my other 3. I love y'all.
Two gentlemen that were also supposed to be on the panel, can y'all come up and introduce yourselves really quick, and then we'll ask their questions.
My name is Donald Perry. You'll probably see me on the Facebook page. I had to work today, so you know I had to take care of some patients and families, and that dynamic was a challenge in my previous marriage. But I proudly tell people I'm happily divorced because in psychology there's an area of relationships where any psychologist or some clinician can tell you it's called fight or flight. And so I made that conscientious decision after 13 years to go to flight, pack up and leave for the sake of peace and sanity. So I know it's not the most popular phrase to say, but this is a good platform. Back in the day when I was single, I was a panelist on a platform in North Carolina. It was called What Not to Bring Home to Mama. So I'm gonna leave that alone for right now. But what these brothers are sharing and the questions, believe me, it should be an ongoing discussion.
So my name is Aaron George. So I signed up to do this because I'm always about anything that has to do with us coming back together, understanding each other, understanding love, understanding all of those things. I think that, like the brother said that left, we've let this world control us through media, TV, all these other things. We have to go back to being natural, basically. You know, there's so many things to be talked about. This is a great way to start. I don't know how much longer. I mean, how long it's been going, but I mean, this was a good, thing to be doing to just as a foundation to get started on some of the things that need to be discussed. And one of the things is that I think is primary. The foundation is between us understanding each other. I did want to say this. One of the things that me listening and things like that I feel like wasn't really talked about, no disrespect to them, is understanding how the person you're talking to was loved.
There you go.
I learned myself by not being a child that didn't receive love. Mm-hmm. Love was the way that I see it in this world today, and it progressed and kept going where so many think, no disrespect, especially women, single women believe that showing their love is giving their child everything they want. Mm. They really want time, but because you're so, focus driven and professionally driven, you think, okay, as long as I give them everything they want, they're gonna love me. Well, I'll tell you, that's not gonna work. When you become old, because you didn't have a time for them, they won't have time for you. I learned that with my own mother. Love her to death, go see her, this and that, but as she got older, she wanted us around more, but everybody's too busy because that's what we was raised in. When I came in a relationship where somebody was loved all the time, hugged all the time, loved all the time, we had a disconnect, and I finally realized it's because I wasn't loved the way you were. And you're trying to force me to immediately understand the same love that you had. And that made a disconnect between us. And I finally realized, tried to explain to her, but she wasn't trying to hear it. I said, I wasn't raised getting a hug every day. So you can't expect me to just automatically just go into the same thing that you've done because I wasn't raised that way. It's going to take time for me to adjust to the way you were loved. I understand it. I wanted it, but I can't just change myself tomorrow to the way you want me to be. And then that patience is not there. Like, no, this is what I want. And we've been taught, get what you want, what you want, what you want, what you want. And that's not how it's supposed to be. Because you'll never get what you need chasing what you want.
There you go. Oh, say that again.
Okay, we're out of time, but we have one more question. I want to get a question asked, and then also, if you're interested in a part 2, we can definitely make that happen. Just let me know, and we'll schedule a date and a time to get you all back out here and have a different, another rebuttal to this. So if you're interested,
Everybody voted
I
yes.
think the part 2 needs to also include women as part of the panel as well.
Right.
But it needs to be